Oh, baby. It is a very exciting Sunday as we do have a lot of long-term analysis happenings to get into. And also, there's plenty to talk about in the short-term time frame as well. This is the trader's market right now. No moon boy, no doom boy bullshit here. We're talking about actual stuff. And with that said, I would like to wish you a happy healthy start to this nice little Sunday over here. It's a nice and bright and sunny day in Helsinki, Finland. And we just got a nice little morning walk in, plus a bit of coffee as well as I wait for my next shipment of yerba mate to arrive. Anyways, with that said, plenty to talk about today. And first, let's get into it right now with the Krown chain application, which we found at app.krown.net. It is, by the way, 100% free. It is the most free quant data that you can find on the interwebs that I'm aware of. If it's not, just let us know because we'll add more. Anyways, with that said, Bitcoin dominance heading up a little bit from yesterday to today. As Bitcoin essentially joins the rally. Fear and greed index still in the fearful zone, which is rather interesting and profound because Bitcoin has more or less put in a very, very powerful bear trap that we identified earlier this past week. And typically when you see something like that, price action is very, very likely to run the other way, of which we're quite literally seeing that right now, and very likely does run even further. And the market is still rather fearful. So this is actually a good sign that this rally does have a bit of legs on it, and I would be looking for general continuation here. Now let's go to the market data tab. There's plenty to talk about right here, plenty to discuss. And once again, this is really interesting to me. The global funding rate is still negative, and it's been consistently negative for about 2.5 months now, ever since Bitcoin got in this range in May. And what does that essentially imply? It implies that shorts have been holding their position, or sorry, the shorts that have been holding their positions have been bleeding out this whole damn time, and we really haven't seen any major break or trending move to the downside from there. It's been more or less a ranging market. Like I said, a trader's market, you might say, from about 30,000 to 40,000 bucks. So with that in mind, that does suggest that we very likely could extend this, as we typically do see. Now, it's not anything too crazy right there. I mean, realistically, I want to see it like 10 times that number before I really start to look for like massive moves. But in this case right here, it does support a little bit of short-term continuation to the upside as we see that consistently. And more importantly, you're getting paid to hold your longs as well. Oh, also forgot to mention, we will be talking about a lot of trade activity today as well. Anyways, global open interest is extremely interesting to me here too. We officially have taken out the prior highs in June, and more importantly, that's supported with price action. Now, we identified this over the past 48 hours, and we're seeing it now just come to fruition. So if you've been paying attention to this channel for even just like the last week or the last few days, you can see that how these things, yes, they do move a little bit slowly, but at the end of the day, they are rather nice. Anyways, on top of that, we do see global exchanges net flow is actually a little bit positive right there. So everyone's selling, which is bad. No, just kidding. It is still a more or less inconsequential number right there, and we don't really have anything too crazy to be speaking about across the other lands. But I do want to bring you over here to page number 4. And what does this essentially imply on page number 4? We see something really interesting here. The whale ratio. The whale ratio is heading down. It actually nosedived from yesterday to today. And if you don't know what this essentially means, or any of these or any of these statistics mean, all you have to do is just highlight the little light bulb right here. Actually, you can't see it on that pane, but you can see it right here. It just looks like that, and it'll bring up what it actually does, what it actually is. And this one basically boils down to the number increasing means an increase in selling pressure from whales. And in this case, we obviously see the number decrease, number go down, which is overall good. Anyways, with that said, should we get into some trading right now? Yeah, sure, why not, man? Started off with the Testnet account today, and what do we see going on over here? Well, I do still have on several positions on these September expirations for a multitude of strikes right here. As you can see, got a little bit carried away with that one right there. Anyways, I'll bring you over to this pane right here. It's gonna be a little more easy to discuss. And basically, what did I do? I bought the 32-36 triangle. Yes, 32-36 triangle. I did it 2-to-1 in favor of put side right there because I was a little bit more biased to the downside. But at the end of the day, this is the funny thing is that the put side's actually working for me right now. As you can see, I should probably just take profit on that right now. Anyways, more importantly, as you can see, in order to reduce costs and actually even just putting a profit on this one, I shorted a ton of the out of the money both puts and calls. I basically shorted the 80, 64, and 100 strike calls, and then I also shorted the 24, 20, and 17 strike puts, although I haven't got full fills on them all the way around. However, I am looking at this right here for the $100 strike put calls right here. I did short them 10 times for an average of 0.04, and I believe right now, if memory serves me correctly, that should come down quite significantly. So I could take half profit on that right now. In fact, I will, because why the hell not? Just free up some equity right there. No sense in holding positions that are just going to I mean, it's probably going to go better over time. I don't necessarily have a full-on bias that Bitcoin's going to go to 100,000 bucks by September, but it is wise, at least in my experience, to take a little bit of profit when you're already quite literally there. Anyways, on top of that, could probably do a little bit with those $80,000 strike calls as well. Let me see what I sold them for. Let's see right here, 0.02. What are they trading at right now? Yeah, I think it'd be prudent to take profit on like 5 of these right here. Why not, man? Just put a little bit of money in the pocket there, shore a little bit of that up, free up some equity right there, and then we can do more things a little bit later. And then what about these 64 strike calls? Let me just double check on these ones. 25. Oh my God. Yeah, I definitely need to take profit on at least some of that. Jesus Christ, man. That is just getting greedy right now. And we can just take a 5 lot off there right there. There's only 2.7 offered, but again, you know, when it comes to trading, just in general, I always feel a lot better when I take a little bit of profit rather than like leaving potential profits on the table. Anyways, probably don't need to do this one right there, although I wouldn't mind if someone hit me on that. That'd be rather nice. But other than that, I think we'll just leave the rest of them on for right now. And let me just see, where am I positioned right now? Yeah, I'm basically delta neutral for all that I'm for all that I care. Oh, should also follow up on this as well. I did take a long position on perps here. Again, this is all testnet. This is not real money. I want to be very, very transparent with that. But basically, I did buy $33,000 we spoke about. I think it was like 2 days ago on the actual breakout. Anyways, with that said, let's go into the actual price charts themselves and let's see where we're at from yesterday to today. So over the past few days, we were looking at this as essentially a bear trap right around here that was confirmed with popping back above about 30. Basically back above $30,000, even on a short-term time frame closure like the 4-hour right here, and that was actually leading into the B word event now, wasn't it? Anyways, more importantly with that, then we got several signals that were suggesting continuation, and realistically, when you get a bear trap like that, you're very likely to run the other way. By the way, I uploaded a video last night, very, very short one, briefly explaining a very, very immature and sophomoric explanation of bear traps and bull traps and how to identify them, but this would be a good one right here. You can obviously look more into that yourself, but generally speaking, the low volume kind of swing at the lows, just barely bringing it lower than your current lows is always going to be suspect. We also saw that lined up with the open interest as well, and that was where kind of the two big key indications for myself, alongside momentum oscillators, also putting in a lot of bull div and also just twisting back up in general as well. Anyways, we also identified this as a falling pizza right here. Not my favorite formation, but it did get the job done. And as I've been saying, you know, in general, I'm really not a big formation trader. And just in general, I'm not saying that you can't make it work. I do know several guys who use it as like their main edge. They, for all that I can tell, they are very, very profitable. And, you know, who am I to fucking hate on that? I think that that's very, very silly to, you know, to down talk anyone who's obviously making money. For myself, I just don't like it. And wedges specifically in cryptocurrency land, probably in the last like three and a half years that I've been running this channel, I've called out a wedge definitely less than 5 times. And this would be one of them right here. Anyways, the measure move, the typical target based off of a wedge formation like this is going to be the top side of your consolidation. So I do still generally look for continuation, basically somewhere around about 30, like high 35s, low 36s, probably over the next week or two, whatever it ends up being. And short term, we did see our targets hit based off of, I think we had a little ascending trog right here. Yep, we hit that one at about 30, just under $33,000. We overtook that level. I think that was spun about by the daily and 2-day closure that we identified on Thursday and Friday, and that was going to insinuate targets higher to actually where we're at right now at about 34.5. So again, these things typically do take time, and I do want to reference some of the comments that I've been getting on these videos. Like, understand when we're looking at a daily time frame and talking about a daily signal, it's not going to play out in the same fucking hour that, you know, the signal is confirmed. It's typically going to take about, you know, 3 to 4 days, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending upon, you know, the market conditions. And that's always going to be time frame relevant. So if we're talking about an hourly, then yeah, you could probably judge that within the same day. If you're talking about a 4-hour, maybe give it like a day and a half, you know, 2 days, something like that. And then when you're talking about, you know, like a 2-day, obviously extend that a little bit more. So understand that, you know, in these videos, we go over a shit ton of different time frames. And to be directly clear for myself in my own trading, I really don't watch all of this stuff. This is all for YouTube, just to, you know, have something to talk about, shoot the shit, and also just kind of practice my own skills for better or worse sometimes. But, you know, when I'm trading myself, I pretty much focus on 3 different time frames, all related to each other. And what I do is I have, you know, 3 indicators or less. Right now, I run the Joule, I run BBWP for my volatility indicator, and then also I run basically just market structure. So I'm just looking at, you know, general trend, which can be mediated by moving averages or just by understanding what the fuck a high and low are. You know, moving averages are a little bit of a cheat code for that for some people. Anyways, with that said, we do have yet again another setup staring us in our very faces right here. If we do start to actually close above that last 34,250, or I guess it's actually 34,500 high on a 4-hour time frame. I think on a daily it's more like 34,300. Let's double check right here. About 34,250. I'd like to see 34,3. And then yes, I would extend targets up to the blue box territory, anywhere, you know, basically in the upper, basically around 36,000 bucks, give or take. I would be looking for a pullback from there, and we should now document in the lower term timeframes how is momentum oscillators operating right now. Anyways, let me pull them up right here. There we go, and let's go down the very low term timeframes, of which we can start off right here. And what do you know, 4-hour Stokes way the fuck up there. Doesn't mean that they can't stay up there for longer. It definitely can, but I would say that this one is essentially insinuated that if we don't see continuation, like pretty much right, like, you know, within the next day, I would say, then we're very likely going to see a little bit of a pullback, consolidate a little bit lower. Again, I still do like the breakout. I still do think that Bitcoin very likely does trade higher from here, but we're now going to have to go into the medium and higher term timeframes, kind of generate the next sort of, I don't know, plethora of signals, or follow up on them, actually, more importantly, because we actually have been speaking about some that are potential over the past few days here, of which several of them actually did get confirmed on the last closure, just I think like a day or two ago. Anyways, with that said, hourly, what are we looking at right here? Actually, hourly still looks pretty damn good. So fair enough. Could Bitcoin continue on with the overall uptrend on the short-term timeframes? Yes, absolutely. But I would say that, you know, if you don't see continuation, basically closing on, you know, above that last prior high, probably sometime today, then yes, I would be looking for Bitcoin to come back down, consolidate a little bit lower, probably somewhere, if I had to guess, around CME's high on Friday, which if we go over here, where is it? It's right at the 21. This one actually closed as a rejection, to be fair, but that was about 33,000 bucks, 33,100 if you want to be super exact. So do I think that Bitcoin can come back down around there, maybe like later today or early Monday? Yeah, absolutely. But I do look at this as the breakout is real, and that would just be considered a retest of the breakout on first pass. And more importantly, let's go back to the spot price action over here, and let's talk about our higher term timeframes, of which we have several things to follow up on. Okay, so first and foremost, we do see that the daily jewel did get the low pretty damn well on the 21st of July right here, given the green signal. Now we actually have something, well, actually, no, it's not super new as of right now. This happened actually 2 days ago. How did I not see that? Anyways, the auto fib is now supporting this, and we have not seen those two signals in alignment with each other since, I mean, realistically, way the fuck on over here, but even like coming from this area, it's actually been more than a year, since March 2020, which is rather interesting to myself. Now, ideally, I do want to see this actually come back down, swing around for like a perfect signal, but this is good enough, at least for now, for generally looking for continuation, basically to the 55 in this case is where I'd be looking towards. And guess where that is? Oh, it's right around 36,000 bucks or so. Now, I also want to follow up on the 2-day as well. We do see that 2-day did confirm 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence. That was done a few closures ago, actually, but you can see that now we've actually officially hit our first target, or sorry, our second target on this one at about basically 34.5, 34.6 or so, and there is potential for more as well. We even see that the 2-day jewel is lining up for potentially a really good signal right here as well. I'd like to see the fast moving oscillator get that cyan blue. If that happens, then yes, I'd look very good for probably a shot up to the tops of the range. And we do see that the 3-day also confirmed 1, 2, 3 drives of bull div coming off the lows as well. And this one actually has a target a little bit higher. In this case, that would be basically around your $36,000 level. On top of that, we do see that the 5-day, which closed last night, very important right here. Do we have any bullish evidence on this? No, we do not. But more importantly, over here on our Stokes, we do see that 5-day Stokes have actually crossed up for the first time in a while now too. You do see that there are a few one-offs right here, yes, but now this one actually looks good coming in from a very low level. We really haven't seen this for a while coming in from this area. I mean, we're talking about back to like December 2019 is where we'd have to go back down to, and this does look like it is supported basically as long as we're above 32,000 bucks. So I do like I do like that for a pivot, and basically as long as we're above there, I'm not necessarily like looking for Bitcoin to continue with like a downtrending move. I think that, basically, if you're asking my opinion, I do think that Bitcoin is looking for, whether you're bullish or bearish, very likely to go up from here. Wouldn't be surprised to see this thing back around 40,000 bucks. Wouldn't even be surprised to see this thing back around 45,000 bucks. But as I discussed, mostly in the month of, mostly in the beginning of this month, I do still think that, whether you're bullish or bearish, just like over here, I do think that things will go up. I think that things will, at the very least, fall back and pull back from like a mid $40,000 territory, whether you're bullish or bearish. And then we kind of find out if this is actually going to, potentially complete the Boulah's dreams, or if this is just another failed rally in a series of failed rallies that we've been looking at for the past 2.5 months, and we get ready for a prolonged market cycle here. Anyways, on top of that, we do see that 2-day Stokes also did continue on with the up as well, also rejecting the bearish control zone. Good. And we do see that 3-day is going to have a chance, not tonight, but on next closure, which is coming in actually tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We will actually reject the bearish control zone right there as well, and that looked pretty damn good as well. And yes, I'd at the very least be looking for a move towards 40,000 bucks. very likely I'd probably extend that to like 45, but I'd like to see that fall through at the same time as well. And then we also have the weekly closing today too, which the weekly is actually, or did it? Hold on, did it? Oh man, it got ever so close to putting in a bullish engulfing actually. And it will confirm a bullish engulfing. Holy shit, I got about 27 bucks away on Bitstamp right here from doing a bullish engulfing. What about Finex? Finex showed, yeah, about 20 bucks away as well. If we do close above last week's high, which is 34,650 on most exchanges, kind of on average, by closure tonight, then that will be a bullish engulfing. I'd feel very, very confident calling a move towards 39 to 40,000 bucks probably in the next week or two, and then very likely continuation towards mid $40,000 territory, maybe over the next month or something like that. And guess what? I think the moons also agree with this as well. Actually, no, that's not my moon chart, but we can talk about this soon. This is in the more long-term analysis guys right there. But more importantly, you know, this market probably is going to take its time regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish anyway. So you know, just patience here, man. It's fucking patience. Anyways, do we see anything of particular interest on this chart over here, our secondary charts? Yeah, we still see the 12-hour trending above the topside Toronto band right here. It is kind of losing a little momentum right now, but that's okay. You know, I like I said, I wouldn't mind a pullback to kind of start off the week and fulfill the CME gap. Anywhere down around 33,000 bucks is fair game to myself. Other than that, do we see anything new on the daily? I mean, daily MACD continue with the up, more or less good. But what do we see on the daily hash ribbons indicator? Yes, they are converging ever so slightly right here. But if I want to go over now the three things to kind of like level this whole analysis out. Look, I don't want to be the fucking moon boy or the doom boy. Like realistically, this thing's still trading sideways between about 30,000 and 45,000 bucks, no matter whether you call it a bull market or bear market. I think that that's a bullshit thing to be talking about anyways, because it's like, okay, it's a bull market, so I hold a 50% downside move and that's okay. Or it's a bear market, so I just blindly short right here because down. That's neither of those have been really the right play in my opinion. I mean, fair enough, you know, people are entitled to do what they want to do, but I do think that this is really a trader's market right now. Anyways, at the end of the day, until we get that blue buy signal on the hash ribbons indicator, there is no talks at all whatsoever about a macro low being put in. And you can see that anytime that Bitcoin has put in like a major downside move, it is not until we've actually had the blue buy signal. We can go through that, the whole damn history of this. Let me just take all of this off right here. You can see, because I've actually marked all of them off so you can see, or maybe we can go to this chart here too. Yeah, there we go. You can actually see the whole damn kit and caboodle. Well, if maybe we go to a weekly here. Yeah, there we go. Bitcoin's never, ever had a major downside move without being resolved by blue buy signal and then printing, you know, well, basically new highs after that, but even just like a strong uptrending move that is sustained after that as well. Ever in the history, as you can see right here. I mean, that is pretty fucking clear. So until we get that, I would not feel comfortable saying that Bitcoin's going to, like, you know, print new highs on a closing basis. Can we test around highs? Yeah, I don't see any issue with that. But I would be cognizant of the fact that we've actually never seen that in the history of Bitcoin ever. So fair enough. Anyways, with that in mind, let's go over here into the daily and what are the other three things that I'd be looking for on a Bitcoin macro confirm low. And of course, you know, everything has its own air of error, of course, but I would say that, you know, if these two things happen, I'd feel very, very confident trading to the upside for a long term. And that would be first and foremost the hash ribbons indicator, as we just suggested right there. Second one would be I want to see at the very least a goddamn higher low on the on Bitcoin daily. Specifically an uptrend, which would also include a higher high as well. But we got to start somewhere, right? We still don't have a higher low right here, although things do look short-term good and medium-term good as well. And then the third one would actually be the volatility read as well on the daily specifically, of which we see something incredibly interesting here too. Now, we do see something very, very similar to what we saw in March 2020, coronavirus dump times, where Bitcoin hit 100 percentile. This was in May, and this is over here in March, coronavirus 2020, and this is more recent May dump. And we hit 100 percentile, so these are extremes right here on the downside, 50% moves or more. And then what happens after that? Spends about 2 months coming all the way down to like 1 percentile, or even a little bit below that in some cases. And then even spends about 2 months even on the lows before getting this major move over here. And that's actually relatively similar in the 2019 saga as well. Anyways, right now you can see that this one actually is starting to get a really positive slope on the moving average for the BBWP. So that does suggest that we might actually see expansion directly from here. But without the other two indications, I would not feel comfortable calling this a macro low. I just think that we have a low, a very good low at that. And, you know, could it turn into a macro low? Yes. But personally speaking, what do I think this is going to look like? If I was to do some crystal ball bullshit right now, which this is not real trading, this is not real technical analysis, this is not even any relevant analysis, probably going to look something like this. Do I have like a drawing tool, by the way? That'd be cool. I don't think I do. I don't know how to use it, but like, what's that fucking LARP thing that people do where it's like you draw like maybe it's this right here. Is it this? No, okay, that's not it. Whatever it is, you know what I'm talking about. Like where you see it on crypto Twitter and like in a lot of people's analysis, like they'll just draw squiggly lines and shit. That's bullshit, man. That's in my opinion, that's bullshit because you can't like actually can't even fucking. I mean, price action is random in a lot of ways too. It's like how do you even randomize it all the way out? Anyways, more importantly with this, if I were to guess, what is it going to look like, whether you're bullish or bearish for like the next, I don't know, month or two? Probably going to go up from here, probably find some highs in like the mid or low $40,000 territory, probably come back down. If it's bullish, probably puts in a higher low right here on the macro. If it's bearish, it'll just crash right on down, or maybe put in another like series of failed rallies over time, and it'll just draw it out and really make this as painful as possible. In fact, that's probably what would happen if it is going to break down overall, but that's what I imagine would probably happen. And so there's really no rush to get into like long-term positions in my opinion. And I suspect that, you know, even right now, people are getting extremely bullish off this, and fair enough, you know, it is certainly bullish in the short and medium term timeframes. That is warranted, but just imagine what it's going to be like if Bitcoin tests around 40,000 or 45,000 bucks again. This market's going to get fucking crazy, I imagine. Anyways, okay, cool. All right, I'm already 20 minutes in this video, and I haven't even said everything that I need to say just yet. Okay, so if we go down into the lower term timeframes once again, is there anything else of specific interest right here? Yeah, I mean, if we do want to put on the good old trend lines right here. Where are your obvious areas of interest? Well, basically right around 33,000 bucks. That's also kind of going to be the breakout point of this falling wedge, which would be your Friday high from CME as well. As long as Bitcoin's above there, I'm generally looking at that as another opportunity. Assuming that Bitcoin even comes back down around there, I wouldn't mind a gap, just kind of existing right there. Again, that might even be a target after Bitcoin does put in the highs on this rally. But overall, I don't really have a reason to kind of be fading this rally in its current stature. I think that we could very easily get a pullback, and pullback targets, like I said, would be anywhere down to about 33,000 bucks. Now, if Bitcoin starts to close 4-hour dildos, let's call it below 33, or especially 32.9, but let's just say 33. It's easier to say and easier to remember. Then I would be looking for, then I would be calling that a failed rally, and we're very likely to come back down below 30,000 bucks overall. And for right now, there are good reasons to think that Bitcoin could very easily play out a little bit of a pullback from here, but don't confuse pullback with like bull trap and then down just yet. We do see that 4-hour Jules getting a little bit extended right there, as we already did see the 4-hour Stokes, but those are more kind of like short-term, medium-term momentum oscillators. 4-hour RSI is still more or less healthy, although I wouldn't mind to move back down to the moving average on this one. And we are seeing our first sustained rally into the bullish control zone on the 4-hour here. Realistically since like April 2021, in fact, that's like the last time that we spent any meaningful time in that region. So I do think that does hold a bit of weight. Anyways, let's go down to the hourly right here. So anything of specific interest. Hourly says more upside. Hourly hidden bullish evidence. A few drives right there. If anything, I think the hourly actually probably gets this one better right now. I do think that we probably do see a move towards 35 or 36 probably this coming week. It depends how we close this weekly though. If we see that move before the weekly close, and we actually do put in a bullish engulfing dildo on this, I would extend targets to 39 to 40,000 bucks over the next week or two, relatively fast. Also, before we get into some more fun long-term stuff, or actually no, let's just go to the fun long-term stuff right now. All right, so I briefly alluded to it over here. Okay, so I have a couple things going on right here. First and foremost, I got the Bitcoin log curve zones going on. You don't really need to, you can go through like a whole long form explanation of this. Look, you can just look it up online, or I can just tell you green, low, yellow, medium, red, hot. Typically you look for your highs here, your lows here, and your sort of consolidations in the yellow zone. Okay, relatively self-explanatory. What I've also done is actually, first and foremost, let's go over this too. Okay, so after heading out of the green zone right here and spending some time in the yellow zone, typically speaking, we actually do retest back down to the bottom side of the green zone. In bull markets, that's your next like major low before liftoff. You can see the same thing over here just briefly. You can see the same thing over here just briefly as well. and vice versa for bear markets. Anyways, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on a Fibonacci extension, and this one is actually a little bit different than the ones that I typically use. The difference here is that I have fib levels based on log scale ticked on, and the reason why I did that is because, well, it's long-term analysis, so it just makes more sense to look at it in log scale. If we're looking at more short-term analysis, then not really going to make a whole hell of a lot of difference, but I would not use this format. Anyways, more importantly, right in over here, I want to show something. I want to show that the one spot 272 extension from the prior high to prior low of from the high to the low of the prior market cycle has pretty much, well, I won't even say my piece on this. Just look at the results. Okay, so let's do it for the past cycle right here. We're talking about, I drew this one from the 2014 high to the 2015 low right here. And when Bitcoin actually breaks out and continues its next mega rally, look where Bitcoin bases off after making new all-time highs right here in the yellow zone, by the way, as well. This is off right at the one spot 272. And also notice that the green zone is where that one is coming in. Very interesting. We can also see this area right here too. Very, very well, a little bit more, very similar, but unfortunately we can't really see it on the weekly as well. Yeah, you see it a lot better on the 5-day in this case. Anyways, this one, same thing, high to low. In this case, where does Bitcoin get its pullback at? At the one spot 272 right here as well. Then we have this one over here, another relatively similar one here too. And guess what? Jesus Christ, man. And guess what? I took this one from the cycle from 2010 to 2011. Cycles were a lot faster back then, by the way. And guess what? Guess where the one spot 272 is? It's right around that spike low right there. And then same thing for the Genesis, way the fuck back on over here too. You can barely see it because it's all scrunched up, but you can see right after the breakout, where does it base off of? The one spot 272 once again. Not bad. Anyways, I thought that was just somewhat interesting. Again, these sorts of more long-term ideas are more there for just talking shit on YouTube, more or less. I would never trade something like this. I don't care about this. This is not relevant to me in any way, shape, or form, but it would be a little more on the bullish side. So if you want to get your bullhorns ready, I think that there are, there's several good cases for both directions right now on the macro scale. I still do think that there's actually more things in the bearish camp right now. They could be resolved by the end of this month, which is actually coming in the next 5-6 days. So, it could all go by the wayside, and maybe this was it, but I would still, be aware of that for right now, of which I will link at the end of this video, the past long-term analysis videos that go over all of those cases and everything. Anyways, there's something else that I want to talk about. Yeah, that's the Gaussian channel over here. Let's go bring this one up again. Okay, boom. So remember on Friday, we closed inside the bottom side Gaussian channel here. And what did we say about that? We said very, very likely we're going to test the median band at after that point. Not on the same day, as you can see, but it is starting to trudge its way up. And what do you know? It does look like that median Gaussian band is slowly coming down here, and it will naturally come down around, guess where? $36,000, probably over the next, if I had to guess, 2 to 3 days. So a natural targeted area right there as well. If also we go to do we see anything of interest on the 2-day? No, we're very, very far away right there. 3 days, same thing. 5-day, we're going to be quite literally in the midst of it. The 5 days is a little bit interesting here too, mostly because we did break the median band right here, and typically speaking, you will test the bottom band after that. Could this be looked at as as basically a test when it's just it's obviously being pulled up right there? Perhaps yes, but the next big thing is going to be the median band right here. Guess where it is? Right around $36,000. What would that imply if Bitcoin does start to close back above there? This is essentially your test of the downside, or your fake out, whatever you want to call it. Very likely to run up over here. Guess where that is? $45,000. And I'd look for a pullback at the very least on the first pass, and also a pullback at $39,000 to $40,000 as well. Very, very likely. Weekly did bounce off the top side of the Gaussian channel right there too. Problem with that is, and also kind of lead into my concerns, but not convictions, that Bitcoin is going to fail the next rally, is that anytime that we have seen a long trending move for Bitcoin, anytime on the weekly above the Gaussian channel, the first time that we come down and officially test the topside Gaussian channel, that has been it. You get a bull trap right there. You can see, and this was a pretty nice move, right? Pretty nice move. We're talking about a 50% move right there. Not bad at all. By the way, what's 50% from $30,000? Well, doing a little bit of mental math, that puts you up in your mid to upper $40,000 territory. Rather interesting now, isn't it? Same thing over here. Test it, boom, up, failed rally. Oh, guess how much this one was as well. Oh, that's weird. Another 50% rally right there. That's very bizarre. What about this one over here? Don't do it, Krown. Don't fucking do it. People want to be bullish. Oh, that's 100% rally right there. That ain't bad. What about on a closing basis though? Actually, this would be a little more accurate there. 69%. Better number two. So we're gonna go with that one. And let's actually go to this one over here because that's not going to be, yeah, it's going to look completely different on this one now, doesn't it? This one test right there, boom, down. So fair enough. You know, we do see that there are still several indications that, you know, I would still be careful on this. I'm not willing to call it one way or the other. It's time to be a trader. It's just time to be a fucking trader right now. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyways, put this back on over here. Before we end, because we're already 30 minutes into this, I want to talk very briefly about very briefly about Ethereum. Ethereum is the one that's actually the most interesting to me right now, because Ethereum does have already, as of right now, as of this exact fucking moment, does have a bullish engulfing dildo on the weekly specifically. And if that does get confirmed, I would be looking at a quick move up to, you know, $2,400 probably over the next week or two, and then very likely extension to the top side of the range. That would be Bitcoin around probably mid 40s. That would be like 28 to 2,900 or so. Let's see, do we have anything of particular interest right here? Not really. Would we have another drive of hidden bullish evidence? No, we would not, because we had lower lows right there. What about on the 5-day right here? Oh, we actually do multiple drives of hidden bullish evidence right there, and short-term target would be about 2340. Anywhere above this slew of highs right here, which is basically 2400 or so, just even a tick above there, I'd look for a general continuation to the high side of this territory right here, somewhere between 20 and 29, maybe as much as $3,000. And if this market is bullish, it'll probably push its way through there over time. 3-day. Do we have, we actually should have had bullish evidence right there. We did make slightly higher lows, or did we make slightly higher lows? Can't really tell right there. Let's see, it's 39.01 versus 39.18 ever so slightly. I mean, barely counts, but we'll count it right now. Yeah, that would be bullish evidence. We did also close on new lows as well. We've already got the easy portion of that move, but the next target would be, hey, guess where? $2,400. So you can kind of see a path forwards for this market right now. Again, short term, a little bit of sideways. Wouldn't mind a short term downside move, but as long as Bitcoin's above $33,000, I feel very, very well. It's not that I need to feel confident, but I would generally be looking for further continuation to the upside. Probably the next week or two, and see where we come back after that. Keep in mind, CME did close 32,300 or so. I would be using the top side of Friday as kind of, you know, a general gap fill point, which would be just above $33,000, 33.1 to be exact. So keep an eye on that when CME opens back up a little bit later today for trading. And other than that, I think we'll save the rest of it for tomorrow. Yeah, we'll save the rest of it for tomorrow. Live stream. Anyways, with that said, I want to wish everyone the best in the haps. It's been an absolute pleasure. Fun times, fun day, and actually some more fun things for, I think, the general population in this market. Take care. I hope this one serves you well, and see you hopefully soon.